The fourth process of the deliver service and support domain, called manage continuity, has 8 practices. The fifth practice is to review and maintain the continuity plan. The entities responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the Chief Information Officer, and the Business Continuity Manager. The entity that is held accountable is the Chief Operating Officer. The practice receives no inputs, but generates 2 outputs, which are the results of review of plans, and the recommended changes to plan, both to be used internally. The activities involved in this practice include reviewing the continuity plan regularly against the business objectives, and the need for an improved business impact assessment should be considered. Required changes to plans, policies, and roles should be recommended and communicated to the management for approval. The continuity plan should be evaluated based on the impact of the changes on the enterprise organization, business processes, and technology. The sixth practice is to conduct continuity plan training. The entities responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the Chief Information Officer, and several IT heads. The entity that is held accountable is the Business Continuity Manager. The practice receives 1 input, which is the list of personnel requiring training, from the HR department. It generates 2 outputs, which are the training requirements, and the monitoring results of skills, both to be used by the AP07 process. The activities involved in this practice include defining and maintaining training requirements and plans for the personnel that perform continuity-related activities. The training plans should consider the frequency of the training and how it will be delivered. Competencies should be developed based on the training exercises, and the relevant skills should be monitored. The seventh practice is to manage backup arrangements. The entity responsible for this practice is the Business Continuity Manager, and the entity that is held accountable is the head of IT operations. The practice receives no inputs, but generates 1 output, which is the test results of backup data, to be used internally. The activities involved in this practice include backing up systems, applications, information, and documentation. The backup procedure should take into consideration the frequency of backup, the type, the mode, and the media. Applications and data maintained by third parties should be backed up adequately. The requirements of off-site storage should be defined, and the required accessibility should be considered. The backup data should be regularly tested and refreshed. The eighth and final practice is to conduct a post-resumption review. The entities responsible for this practice include the business process owners, the Chief Information Officer, and the head of IT operations. The entity that is held accountable is the Business Continuity Manager. The practice receives no inputs, but generates 2 outputs, which are the post-resumption review report to be used internally, and the approved changes to the plans to be used by the BAI6 process. The activities involved in this practice include assessing the compliance with the business continuity plan. The effectiveness of the plan and the continuity capabilities should be determined. Any weaknesses in the plan should be identified and improved, and management approval should be obtained for any changes. Other sources that provide further insights into this process include the ISO 22301 standard, the ISO 20000 standard, the ISO 27002 standard, and the ITIL framework.